Hey, so it's Tony. I'm just going to quickly show you how to recreate an amber glass jar using all of it already available assets that we have in Adobe Dimension. So right now I just have a new blank canvas, nothing on it. We change our properties here, pixel size, resolution. I'm just going to leave it as the default one. Right here we have our default assets. So I'm actually going to go to my library. It has a couple other things, which I'll try to link you to that I like more. We're going to drag in this glass jar that I have. And this twist jar right here. And we're just going to steal bits and pieces from both of them instead of recreating everything from scratch. So I'm just going to do a little organization over here and just rename stuff because this looks sloppy to me. And we're going to delete this label one right here. And we're going to delete this top right there. So we're just left with the glass jar. The reason that it's dotted up is because it's translucent, so it's partially see-through because it's glass and not plastic. So I don't care about that. And right here is the twist jar we dragged in, and we're just going to steal this lid over here. So we're just going to drag it up to this glass jar folder, and we can actually just delete this folder here. So we're just left with the metal lid and this glass jar right here. And I'm just going to rename that. So I actually have some properties that I copied from an older one, the whatever I just did before this, so I knew what to have for this video. So we're just gonna plug in to this what I have. We're gonna change the pivot, make sure we're on the metal lid right now because we're adjusting the properties of the metal lid. So 40.1, 25.5, and 1.5. I have the orbit tool right now. I'm just going to use it to move around to find wherever I've moved this jar to accidentally. And we're going to keep changing these properties right here to whatever I had before. 45 minus 2.5 to 3 and there we go. Our metal lid is aligned flat instead of tilted, and we're gonna just change this metal jar so it aligns underneath it. It doesn't look right. What did I type in wrong? Doesn't look right at all. Oh, there we go. I don't know why. There we go. So right there is our metal lid and our glass jar. And I'm just gonna reposition it on my canvas right now. This little blue red mark right here is our center mark, and it's pretty much where the sun and everything is going to be centered from unless you change its positioning, which I'll get a bit more into. So right there, we're going to go back up to this metal lid here. We're going to double click, So over here with base color, we're gonna just go to color, and you can change the colors here. And we're gonna go with silver. Let's go with silver. So you can change the opacity, how see-through it is, roughness right here. Changes the shine level if you want something matte or you want something gloss. So super glossy, matte, no shine. So we're just gonna find one that we like. Here, let's go with 40. Metallic gives you that metallic sheen right there. So 0 is dull, 100 is metallic. Because it's a metal jar, we're gonna keep it metallic. Glow makes it glow essentially, but jars don't glow. So translucence here isn't really important for the jar, but I will show you how it works in regards to the isn't important for the lid, but I'll show you what it means for the jar. So we're going to double click on our jar now, and we're going to click on the base color here, and this is how we adjust the color of our jar here. So just find what you would think amber would look like. It looks amberish to me. Again, roughness is basically how matte the jar is. Glass jars seem to be pretty glossy. If you have a plastic jar, they're a bit rougher and not as glossy. So right now we're just going to keep it pretty much 0. And translucence here means basically how see-through things are. Look at this fancy definition we have. So 100 means it's completely see-through. 0, not see-through at all. I'm actually going to keep it around 80, which I think is a good number. So there's our pretty much amber jar with the metal lid, and we're just going to start layering images on it. So we're going to go back to the metal lid here, and right up here with this action button, if we hit it, and we can actually find images that we have, and we can layer it right on top of it. So right here I actually have this one that you sent to me, and we're just going to go over here, and this is the select and move one, so we could just center it. And once you have everything centered, pretty much they're really interchangeable, so you don't have to recenter stuff again. And I'm gonna hold shift down while I drag this, so it drags everything very uniformly. It rescales everything uniformly, and I'm gonna just use my orbit tool to rotate and make sure that everything's actually really centered. And I'm gonna scale it. So this is our move tool, this is our scale tool here. I'm just gonna keep tweaking this till it's pretty much where we want it to be, and that's fine right there for me. And orbit tool to change back down to see how everything looks, and that's good for now. We're gonna go to the jar now, double click that, and do the exact same thing. Choose your artwork. This is going to be our label right there. Again, we're just gonna move it. Make sure you have the graphic selected when you hit these tools, or it's gonna move the entire jar instead of just the graphic. So right there, try to center that. I'm gonna hold shift down, and I'm gonna drag this so it pretty much drags pretty uniformly. And shift down as I scale it so everything scales uniformly again, which is fine. So over here in our properties, this just refers to the artwork right here. We have 0, which is very glossy. 100 would make it a matte label. So find something you're comfortable with. For matte, I usually like keeping it around 75 so it's not completely matte. For metallic, right here you will set it to 100 for metallic. For no metallic, you're going to keep it at 0. If you want to make something partially metallic on a label, you actually need to relayer another image here. Relayer another image onto the model, and this image is going to have to basically be the spotlight file, and it just needs to have only what you want metallic on it. So right there, that looks fine. We're going to go back to this metal one actually. Tweak this so it's the same roughness. So that actually looks really good to me. So we're gonna go back to the starter assets. So in here you could change the settings of certain things. So if we were to go to this, let's say metal lid, and we want to change the material of the metal lid. Right now it's a metal lid, which is great, it's what we want. But if we wanted to make it like, say, a wooden lid, I'll click one of these assets and it'll actually layer it with like the wood grain texture. But I'm gonna go back to metal. And actually chose the wrong metal texture, but I'm just gonna adjust it again to find something that I like. That works right there for me. And you can do the same thing with the jar. You can make it a plastic jar, metal jar, change the color, how see-through it is. If we go down here, keep scrolling to the light selection, you can change what kind of lights are actually hitting it. So we have things like softbox here, which is generally what I like to use, is basically that soft white studio image. So over in environment, you can actually layer a background on it, but we're just going to keep it white here. So you can change the lighting we have. If you want harsher lights, right there. We change where the light is coming from, its position. We change the lighting color. We can add sunlight, which will add a drop shadow, which will add a cast shadow. So we can change how harsh the light is, if it's cloudy, where the actual sun would be, and if the sun's a certain color. I'm just gonna not do that right now. So open our ground plane right here. It normally has a shadow, which I could leave. If you want to have like a reflection in the ground, you can actually set that here as well, but we're gonna leave that. And now we're just gonna scroll back, move things into place. So now I'm just recollect on the whole glass. I'm gonna click on the glass jar folder, so it selects all of it instead of just a partial asset. And we're just gonna position it however we want. So this spot right here where the blue and red is the center. So it's basically where the sun is at default positioning. And I'm gonna rotate our camera to get the view that we want. So that's the orbit tool. This is positioning. This is the horizon. I usually just use orbit mostly, but I do use everything. But just play with them, figure out what you like. So once you have a nice scene that you want, you go up here, you can hit this, or you could bookmark this view. So like front view right there, so that'll keep it as the front view, and it'll save what this image looks like here. And if you have multiple, if you could change the labels and everything, it'll still keep this view. So we're gonna find another view that we like, We're going to rotate that. And we're going to add another bookmark. Side 1. And we're going to rotate over here. And add another bookmark. Side 2. We're going to go to the top. And add another bookmark. Top. Great. So now we can just select between all of them. And then when we hit render, we could select any views that we want to create. So if you want to recreate all of them, just hit all and then rename your file, quality, and the location. And you can also choose what type of files. You can open it in PSD or PNG. The PSDs do take a bit longer, but it creates separate files for the actual image, the background, and the shadow, which is helpful. So we're just gonna go with PNG because it's quickest, and I'm gonna keep it at low just because, well, things take a while to render. So I'm just gonna do the front view right now just to show an example and hit render. And then it should start building our image, and then it'll save whenever it's done, essentially. So that's pretty much it. I'll try to link you to all of the assets that I use here, but that looks pretty good to me actually. So just gonna slowly start building the image here, and the image will get a lot better once it's done, and the higher quality you go on it. High quality PSDs, depending on the size, can take 2 to 3 hours. I usually just let them run overnight. So here we go, and we are going to stop now.